We are all a little depraved and debaucherous. Here is the king of podcasts.
Sometimes when I take that rabbit hole down through TikTok and I start looking for stories for this program, I can always find a good gem. Tonight, we're going to talk about why nerdy husbands might make the best husbands. Yeah, that's the focus of tonight's Depraved and Debaucherous. Thanks for listening in. King of Podcasts here with you. kingofpodcasts.com is the website. Make sure to bookmark it. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share the YouTube channel. If you haven't done so already, I would really appreciate that. Get up to 500 subscribers so I can start monetizing this thing. I'd really appreciate it. However I can get there. And more importantly, also, please subscribe and, feel free to go ahead and rate and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Would love for all of you to do that as well. So let's get into the Isabel Brown on TikTok. And I'm just going to play the clip.
Where the hell do y'all be finding these men that are obsessed with you? Good fathers? Can take care of you? Spoil you?
They're nerds. They're nerds. You go for the nerd. It honestly blows my mind how we have this entire trope in American literature and movies and TV shows about the nerdy girl who gets the glow up when she grows up, and she was this unsuspecting girl next door, always knows in a book, loved fantasy series and movies girl who then becomes super hot and amazing. But we don't say that for men.
Now, let's go and put it like this. Off the bat, it is what she's talking about. The nerdy guy is always ones we always see that we can always pick movies where we have the nerdy guy that ends up getting the girl at the end, right? Can't Be Buy Me Love. Or you want to go ahead and use, one of my favorites is 3 O'Clock High, but of course nobody talks about that movie much. Don't fuck this up, Mitchell. Never mind. We could also use, what else do I got? I'm trying to think of one of the movies. Well, She's All That was like the reverse of it. But yeah, the idea is, it's like the real life high school teen movie coming to life. That the guy that wants to go and work so hard to get the girl does get the girl at the end. But they're trying to say that let me put it like this now. So we're talking about that the guys that would normally not be the girl's first choice to hook up or to go out on a date with when they're young. But once they get older and they're looking for a man to have children with, to raise a family with, to support her, she's saying get the nerds because they make good husbands. But here's the problem. You see, that might have been fine about 20 years ago. But since the internet, since online dating apps, since everything changed about women and their thinking, that doesn't happen anymore. Now, this whole thought process that, finding a husband, which guy and which nerdy guy wants to be a husband? Look, I'm a nerdy guy. I'm not so much caught up with where young, pretty Isabel is here, talking about, guys that are into like Star Wars and Marvel. Listen, I watch MCU and DC movies, and I can watch some anime here and there. I'll go watch the movies. And, I'm not into lightsabers. I'm not into cosplay and stuff like that. No. And I'm not playing video games. But, I'm enough where I can understand where they're coming from. I've had friends that definitely subscribe to what she's talking about. But yeah, she's saying the husbands. Now, I'm going to let her go and explain why.
I want you to hear me loud and clear when I say this, so listen up. If he owns a lightsaber, green flag. If he has purchased a wand from the wizarding world of Harry Potter, greenest possible flag.
Now, of course, she is being sarcastic, and I know that. I am aware of that. But still, there is some context to take from this.
If he has an unhealthy obsession with Ahsoka Tano, you better run to the altar. Bonus points if he's obsessed with Monopoly, because those little underestimated nerd boys grow up to be men who see what's in here.
Grew up to see what's in here? No, they've always had it. Guys will worship, nerdy guys, of course, will worship the women that they want to be with, but those are also the guys that are in your friend zone. If you didn't know that, ladies, if you have nerdy guys around you that are friend zoned, yeah, she's trying to say they are possible suitors for you, but that necessarily might not be the case. The thing is, sure, you want a guy who, because of the stereotype of nerds, that he can't get anyone. He can't get another girl. And then when he is able to land the beautiful girl of his dreams in his lap, then yes, he will part the Red Sea. He will move heaven and earth to make that woman happy. I know because I tried to be that. That's not realistic. That's not reality. And you know what? That's not a guy that's going to be a marriage material, because you know what? You're going to take advantage of that, and then you might just divorce, because there's nothing more to this after that. That's the whole point of this. So now, a soon-to-be married podcaster, Isabel Brown, age 26, she's from Florida, she endorsed the idea of finding a husband who's a nerd. She bemoaned the societal trend that often overlooks the hidden charms of four-eyed, suspenders-wearing gentlemen. See, this shit is just... well, this is a MindsJournal.com reading this, but like, look, the stereotype plays here. Fuck it, okay? Suspenders-wearing gentlemen while celebrating the transformation of nerdy girls into glamorous women in literature movies, right? This is the whole thought of like, oh, that Big Bang Theory is real, all right? Oh, God. So do you think, what we're saying, the best example we could say is Penny and Leonard in Big Bang Theory. That's the most recent example of what we see literally. That is the fantasy, which is why Big Bang Theory was on for 10 seasons, because people enjoyed that whole idea. And because women like young Isabel like to go ahead and put everybody into this kind of thing. Like, oh, because they're nerds, they're going to be easy to manipulate, easy to control, and they're just going to, you can just walk all over them. Well, no, you can't. No, it doesn't work like that. But she wants to bring it up and think that point. Okay. So she's given that, and obviously this went very viral. And then the whole nerdy girl trope is nothing new. Countless movies seeing the awkward, bookish character going through a transformative makeover to get the guy of her dreams. What about reversing the cliche? Now, as we heard the young lady before her, where the hell do you all find these men that are obsessed with you, good fathers, could take care of you? Well, the real answer is they're around. But the thing is, women, young, pretty women, they're not looking for commitment. They're not looking for the standard guy. If they are, then guys, those are keepers. If they're actually looking for commitment, and you can see that they're actually looking to bring a relationship together that actually is both of you together on the same page, yes. Yes, absolutely. If they're not, then they're just good. Then it's something less than that. Situationship, friends with benefits. Oh, we don't want to call it that? No. Yeah, situationship. Oh. We can't call it friends with benefits. We can't call it fuck buddies, because what this really is. But anyway, they make the point here, and she says it's the nerds that make the best partners. And I just think when I hear that, it does put guys who are nerds into like a category. Oh, the thing is, now there's this whole fantasy like, oh, the nerds are going to be like getting ready to go ahead and show their real nerd, prowess so they can be attractive to a woman. No, I'm going to tell you this. Sounds funny, but Isabel's not going to convince any women, and not going to turn any women around to become, seeking out nerds on sight. That's not going to happen. They're not going to go find some, meeting of Magic the Gathering, or going to an arcade. They're not going to the movies. They're not going to the mall. They're not going to whatever. Like, it's just not going to be like that. I don't believe it at all. There were commenters to Isabel's post. One saying, quote, "I married the anime-loving, nerdy gamer boy. Wouldn't change it for the world." Another one, "Yes, my husband is the biggest adorable nerd." And then a relationship guru known as Your Divorce Survival Guide explains why he and other dorks make top-tier partners. Great. Let's hear what he says here.
Go for the nerds, and I'll tell you why. I'll elaborate in a way that you probably wouldn't have thought of until I'm about to tell you, okay? Nerds are the ones that are always outside looking in. You see all the jocks, all the so-called hot guys, all the so-called types getting selected. Always longing and wanting, but watching those good girls, those beautiful girls that you've always been attracted to, completely get dogged and crapped on entirely.
Hold on a second. So he's trying to say that. But the truth is, that's high school. That's not reality. Guys are not nerds. Nerdy guys, at some point, they give up on that. And they move on with their lives, and they become something of their own. Okay. Let me put it to you like this. I'm going to say this now. You know, all these alpha male podcasts that you hear out there. Okay. You know, a guy can really change when he gets money and he gets status and clout. Okay. When that happens, a guy then could go ahead and play along with the game and say, you know what, maybe I'm something more than that. And so they use that to the advantage. But being called a nerd, you know, these days, the word nerd doesn't have the same connotation. You know, when I was called a nerd in the 80s and 90s as a kid and as a teenager, that's a different story. You got picked on, you got bullied, and it really was like, you know, if you weren't in with the crowd. See, the thing is, Marvel Comics, DC Comics, you know, trading cards, Dungeons and Dragons, all that shit, that wasn't cool. Not at that time. But the next generation of millennials and now the Gen Z, that's now more acceptable. Seeing guys and girls dressing up nerdy like, okay, emo is cool, right? Goth at one point became cool. It just changed. Glasses didn't mean a difference anymore. It wasn't anything like that. So this whole thought process that nerds are still like this thing is because you're just using an old stereotype that doesn't fit anymore. Okay. Remember, we watch Stranger Things. Yeah. The 4 kids are nerds, but that doesn't matter. All right. The point is, you're trying to say that there's like this cool factor that guys still live in this world. And this is where women are delusional about that. And Isabel, sweetheart, listen, congratulations on getting married. Congratulations on your future nuptials. I'm happy for you. I'm happy you're in podcasting too. Okay. Hello. I'm King of Podcasts. Welcome. Welcome to the fold. I know you're getting a lot of views for this, more than I will ever give, but I mean, it's a joke, right? You're not being serious about it. Yeah, sure. News. I mean, there were publications that came out and actually reported on what you said because it's kind of cute and cool. Right. But do you really think that what you're saying, if you honestly believe that what you just said about a guy that's wearing, you know, holding a lightsaber and all this stuff, no. Okay. It's funny. It's funny. Fine. But some people are going to take that seriously. Right. And that's fine to be funny. Listen, all for it. I'm not here to cancel nobody. I'm not anything like that. But I will tell you that this should be taken as a moment to understand that, you know, nerds, there are people that consider themselves nerds. We need to go ahead and just realize this. Movies are make-believe. It's not real life. Okay. Now, it's one thing to be a good person and good-hearted and be giving and loving and compassionate and people-pleasing. Sure. Which is some of the aspects that nerds might have, like myself. But, you know, she's trying to give out these ideas where it's like, okay, if the guy shows all these aspects of being a nerd, according to what you see as a Big Bang Theory member, then that's the guy you pick. No. Because the truth is that guys that are nerds, listen, you can't just expect that, you know, every woman is going to go and accept you for the different things that are very quirky about you. The truth is that you're not as compatible to a young, beautiful woman because you're into all that. Like, there are women that might just say, oh, I might be into something that you're in. But what else is there about you that they're interested in? What's their agenda? What's their modus operandi? See, we're not worrying about the green flags the guys have. We're worried about the red flags the women give that they're coming to us. And that's one thing I worry about. You want to know that a woman's coming at you sincerely. If she's actually going to approach you, you want it to be sincere. And I'll admit, as a nerd, I always had a problem finding any woman sincere with me, which is why I stayed single for a long time, and I have been today. But it's one of those things where there's nothing wrong with being a little bit overthinking and just saying, you know what? I'm going to be careful. I don't want to get caught up in something where I've seen other guys around me that get caught up in this when something's too good to be true. Okay? Because the other thing too is that if you're the nerd in the relationship, that means you're awkward, that means you're quirky, and that there's not a whole lot of chemistry and a whole lot of bonding. Like, it might happen over time. But the movie No Hard Feelings was a great example of that, right? Because you have Jennifer Lawrence's character with the 19-year-old kid going to Princeton and the whole awkwardness of that. And of course, in the movie, they made it where there was some kind of a emotional connection. Sure, friends, maybe something more. But the guy is not in control. The guy is going to let the woman take the control, take the initiative. This is what really comes down to it. So if anybody believes in this shit right here, nerds make the best husbands because, oh, they're pushovers. Oh, I can get them to do anything I want. Because I'm the prize. I'm the pretty privilege. I'm the one he wants. Like, he'll never get one like me unless I grant him his wish. Well, that's not the way to look at it. Not the way I want to look at it. So this is something I'm telling to all you young guys and gals. Okay, ladies, please don't play into this delusion at all. Okay? This is a funny, sarcastic, haha thing. Don't take it seriously. Okay? Please decode it and just realize, no, just be who you are. And eventually somebody's going to come to you. And if you're not attracting somebody that you want, then be a better version of you. Work harder. Make something of yourself. And realize that it's not everything. Remember, women, it's easier to go ahead and be approached and have guys come to you. There are many women that don't realize they have a pretty privilege about themselves, even though they might be considered averagely attractive. It doesn't matter. Averagely attractive gets you attention from guys. And plenty of guys. It doesn't matter. If a girl just has a pretty face, a pretty disposition, and just a pretty attitude, just something about her attractive, guys are easily into the visual. So it's not hard for many women to be attracted to. But the guys who are nerds, remember, guys already have a shaft anyway, because we always have to be the ones that work harder. We have to be the ones that make the initiative, make the approach 99% of the time. We also have to be the ones that make the effort, make the plans, put the resources and the investment in. And so what she's saying is that the nerds will do that without hesitation, without any reserve. They'll just do it without even thinking. And you know what? Maybe there are some guys who are rich. They also get into this and say, well, I have the means to go and give her what she wants. Maybe it'll turn things over. Maybe she'll like me as a result. Look. I know that's what I did. As a nerd, I always had the thought process, well, if I'm the guy, I'm the rescuer, I'm the good guy, I'm trying to be taking a girl that I would want, that maybe she's not the best in the world, but she's gone through some things, she's emotionally hurt and broken. Maybe I can help in men. Maybe I can be the one that fixes her. Maybe I can be the one that can enable her. No, that never works either. I know by experience, way too many times, it doesn't happen. So don't think it does. Don't believe in it. It's not going to work. Does that make sense? Do I make myself clear about this? Because you need to really realize that. And there are women that are going to believe that that's actually the way it goes. And there are other guys that come on here and she explains this, right? There was a woman that come on there and they comment constantly. So one person says, Henry Cavill is the living embodiment of the male version of the female trope. Another one, married my nerdy engineer high school boyfriend. We built Legos on a date, no lie. Another one, I've dated plenty of nerds. Peter Pan syndrome is at its finest, no green flags. Another one, I was watching this with my fiance in the room, and he peeked his head up and he said, what did they say about Ahsoka Tano? And then a guy says, we are found in the friend zone. Another guy, we are all in your friend zone. Another one says, I've only dated nerds and not all of them are nice. So she found the right words to kind of catch the attention. Good for her. Good for her. She got to it. Okay, great. But it's one of those things that I'm a little afraid of. Now, I asked ChatGPT about it. I asked ChatGPT, hey, write me a story. Because I do that. Listen, I'm kind of lazy about this when it comes to the program. I'll just get something that's written in. But I want to take where she says that ChatGPT might have given something that was actually pretty good. So I'm going to take what was written here. It's in the description. So if you want to read it, go ahead and check it out. The video got 5.3 million views. So people were watching it in the last couple of days. Isabel's video resonated deeply with many, striking a chord with women who had yet to discover the hidden gems among the four-eyed suspenders-wearing gentlemen of the world. Right. The societal trends, right? Now, she explained that nerdy husbands are exceptionally intelligent and curious individuals. And behind the thick glasses and nerdy interests lie a deep well of knowledge and passion for learning. Listen, if you just get rid of the whole nerd concept, the guys with the glasses and the nerdy interests, no, how about just guys? Let's just replace this all, get rid of the nerds part and just replace it with guys. everyday guys that are not narcissistic, guys that are not manipulative, guys that are not scheming and plotting and trying to get in your pants. How about those guys? Let's try it with this. Guys have a deep well of knowledge and a passion for learning. Partners who can engage in thought-provoking conversations, challenge you intellectually, and support your personal growth in profound ways. Right. How about guys? There are actually conventional, regular, everyday guys that could do that. And now, guys are characterized by their first loyalty. Once they find someone with whom they share a connection, they become unwavering pillars of support. Those are guys. Just because you put a little thing about a nerd in it doesn't make a difference. Those are guys. Those are everyday guys. There's plenty of guys like that. Their loyalty mirrors the steadfast dedication of a sidekick to superhero. You can count on them to stand by your side through thick and thin. Yes, protector, provider, supporter, champion, right? You are her hero, right? Then there's the financial stability that nerdy husbands can typically bring to the table. And that is the focus. Guys who have financial stability. Their dedication to their interests often translates into career success, making them reliable and responsible partners who can provide stability for their families. But when the women come into the picture, are they going to sustain the reliability and stability of a relationship? Or is it just going to be a big disruption? You want to know that you find a woman that complements you, that you find parallels with. Now, of course, in any relationship, not everything's going to be compatible, but you find things that put you together. The reasons that make both of you bond, make you love each other unconditionally. Unconditionally. We're going to go along. Now, again, replace the word nerds with guys. Guys can be incredibly thoughtful. Remember the smallest details, surprise you with well thought out gifts, and plan unforgettable dates. Now, guys should be able to do that when it's the right woman that they feel like they have a real commitment with. There's a chance of something really real long-term happening. Then the guys will do this shit. Smallest details, surprise you with well thought out gifts, plan unforgettable dates. Now, that's also the phase of guy wanting to get the girl and have her fall in love with her. And when guys do that part, that's the part that's a mistake. We just can't completely just give. And here's the other part. How many guys are doing this and they're narcissistic, manipulative, and love bombing you because, ladies, they're just finding their way to go ahead and get into your heart and using these trinkets right here, these certain things at the initial onset of meeting them and going out with them on several dates to then get your heart attached to them. Attention to details beyond their interest to the people they care about, making them considerate and loving partners. But that's also, if you think that whole stereotype is supposed to be like the way it is, not always. But there are some things of truth in that. And there is the passion and commitment that nerdy husbands bring to relationships. Just as they dedicate themselves to their hobbies and interests, they're equally committed to nurturing their romantic relationships. Now, remember, you're hearing let's again, replace nerds with guides. Passion and commitment that guys bring to relationships. Dedicating themselves to their hobbies and interests. Yes, guys need to have a life outside of the girl. The girl just can't be the focus and the circle of his entire life. He has to have something else going on. And the ladies have to have the same thing. But it's also something wonderful when the woman has her own passion and commitment and has her own dedication to hobbies and interests. Nurturing romantic relationships, equally committed as well. It goes for the women as well. Women are now recognizing the unique qualities that, according to this right here, says nerdy husbands bring to the table. No, there are unique qualities that guys can bring to the table. All guys. Okay? Just because right off the bat, you feel you're supposed to find somebody that is your aesthetically pleasing equal. Well, no. Because you realize many times if you find someone that is equally as attractive as you, how many times have we heard about that? There are not many. There are not many that hit all the filters that a woman might have when they feel like they should have everything in the world. Which, okay, you want to go for that. Just remember you're going for a small percentage. A small percentage. So breaking away from traditional stereotypes, embracing partners who offer intelligence, loyalty, financial stability, thoughtful gestures, and unwavering commitment. Is that everything you need for a husband? And why is it that we think that only the nerdy husbands can do that? And regular guys can't do the same thing? They absolutely can't. So take that whole nerdy thing out of your head. Listen, Nerds are going to be nerds because that's who they are. It's who they enjoy. It's what they're about. It's how they were raised. It's how they came up. So this story that I got Chat GPT to go ahead and write for me is that love should transcend appearances. If you're on the quest for a partner who will stimulate your mind, support your dreams, and stand by your side through it all, you might find your ideal match in a guy. Not a nerdy husband, a guy. And that includes nerdy guys. Does that make sense? Am I making a point here? I hope I can, because I'm trying to. Because I know everybody wants to get off on this and feel like, oh, well, maybe there's something more to it. And, you know, sometimes these stories just really just get under me. And I'm like, it gives me a chance to really put the point across and hit it home and just, you know, realize it is an opportunity to go and say something more. I do like that part. I do love that part. Now, there's another story I'm going to bring up at some point, but it was one that I saw on Reddit. Sugar daddies, how do you feel about your sugar baby being in a committed relationship? We're going to talk about that another time, but I'm going to hold on to that. I'm just going to tease that for another episode. But, you know, as we wrap this up, gentlemen, you know, one thing that you should take out of what was said on this conversation is that even though they want to use the word nerd, you know, for particular guys out there, the one thing you should notice too is that it doesn't matter that part, okay? First of all, don't even be discouraged by the fact that a woman wants to go and try to say that you're a nerd. It doesn't matter if you are or not, okay? The other thing is that you should not need to settle or feel like you're inferior because you're a nerd or because of what you like and what you enjoy, just for a woman to go ahead and get your attention. Okay, if any woman decides to go and follow this young lady's advice, Isabel Brown's advice, just realize there's this whole thought process that, well, a woman's just trying to find a good man out there. It doesn't matter if you're a nerd. It doesn't matter if you're, you know, into Toshikano, whatever it was. I forgot the name. I'm sorry. I don't watch Disney Plus. So just don't even worry about all that shit. Okay? And ladies, you know, you don't need to listen to the fact that you think you need to find a particular nerdy husband. Because maybe, you know, you're not looking for commitment. You're not looking just to go ahead and find a guy that will take care of you and sweep you off your feet and give you that long commitment. Because you know what, young ladies, I know, you're just like yours truly and many other guys out there that realize marriage isn't a thing. We're just better off being depraved